The Iowa caucus is right around the corner. Could the frontrunner, Donald Trump, lose it all? Many assume that Donald Trump will win the Iowa caucus, but I want to start by listening to this clip from Vivek Ramaswamy.
I think the polls are drastically off, Eric, because what we see on the ground is many of the supporters of my campaign in particular are first-time ever caucus goers. So I predict a major surprise on January 15th, and I like where the expectations have been set. So I think we're going to shatter those expectations. That's going to propel me forward to the next phase of this race.
Vivek seems to think that he's seen support on the ground in Iowa that could lead to victory. Now listen to this clip from Ron DeSantis.
We're going to win Iowa. I think it's going to help propel us to the nomination.
DeSantis also sees support on the ground. Are these two candidates going crazy, or are they onto something? Right now, 538's polling average shows Trump winning, with a margin of over 30 percentage points. DeSantis down at 18.6% and Ramaswamy at 5.9%. So, are these candidates just going insane? Well, historically, Iowa is a complicated and confusing state. Iowa has had many upset victories. That's what led Obama to win the nomination. Let's look at the 2020 Iowa caucus on the Democrat side. The polls right before the caucus showed Bernie Sanders in first, followed by Joe Biden, and in third, Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg exceeded expectations and won the Iowa caucus. So Iowa is known for upsets. Now there are a few factors that could lead to an upset. The first is that Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds has endorsed Ron DeSantis. Generally, Iowa governors have stayed out of the caucus. They've stayed somewhat impartial, but this time Kim Reynolds has jumped aboard the DeSantis ship. Also, the format of the Iowa caucus makes a huge impact. It's a longer event. You have to listen to speeches and then cast a public vote. It's very strange and unique. That format can also be hindered by weather. The forecast for Iowa on caucus night is frigid and snowy. One analyst reported this in Axios. This analyst expects poor weather to negatively impact turnout, especially among Trump supporters. Many supporters of Trump assume that he's going to win the caucus because he's ahead in the polls, and that could hurt turnout, especially with Trump's older supporters. And then there's Trump's event strategy. Trump has only done 24 events in the more major cities. Compare that to Ron DeSantis, who has done 99 events, or Vivek Ramaswamy, who has done 239 events. These grassroots connections, shaking hands with voters, giving speeches in small towns, they can make a difference on caucus night. And then, of course, there's ground game. Trump lost the 2016 Iowa caucus to Ted Cruz. What was one of the reasons? Ground game. This is a Vanity Fair article where Trump admits that he lost Iowa because of that weak campaign. Now, Trump has improved his campaign structure, but we see other candidates like Vivek and Haley, Never Back Down, which is DeSantis's PAC, Americans for Prosperity, which is supporting Haley. They're all knocking on doors, handing out literature. This grassroots strategy can really move the needle in a rural state like Iowa. So, when you take all these factors into consideration, could Donald Trump lose Iowa? Yes, it's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. Right here are my predictions for the Iowa caucus. I do believe that Trump will win the Iowa caucus, but around 39%. That's lower than the polls currently show. I think all these factors will generally harm Trump and boost the other candidates, but I still think Trump's lead in Iowa, a deeply red conservative state, is really untouchable. So that's what I'm expecting as we head into the Iowa caucus. If you haven't already, check out my full predictions video where I analyze each candidate. And make sure to subscribe before you go.